Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Dokkan Chronicles, and this is the 8th anniversary stage. So for the Dokkan Chronicles, honestly, the 8th anniversary stage, like I mentioned before, the stages get progressively easier because you get progressively more access to units. So although in theory the stages are getting harder in terms of raw stats, I believe at this point they're still easier than the first couple stages. I will say I did look at the 10th anniversary stage. Seems like it should be a challenge there, but at the same time I still don't really think so. Like, I think it will be a challenge, but it won't be. It's like one of those weird things. Look, ultimately at the end of the day, I think each stage is a good representation of where Dokkan was at that time and the difficulty of the events that kind of took on the content at that time. So I do really like it. I like it as a way to look back kind of at how content was, but with obviously the scaling of super easy A's and things like that, it's not all so straightforward and simple. But yeah, the 8th anniversary stage features 4 phases. We have Gohan Teen, AGL Gohan Teen, 18 million health, nothing too crazy, immune to sealing, immune to stunning. Then he goes into strength. Super Saiyan Gohan Teen, same thing, immune to sealing, immune to stunning, immune to attack lowering. Gohan hits for about 800, and Super Saiyan version hits for about 880. Nothing too crazy in terms of super attack there, and then obviously their normals hit for about 280 and 350, so really nothing too wild. Then you face Gamma 1, Gamma 2. Both of them, look, Gamma 1 hitting for about 1 million, Gamma 2 hitting for about 1.1 million. They're hitting normals of about 330 to 390. Both are immune to sealing, both are immune to stunning, both are immune to attack down, both are immune to defense down. So nothing really too crazy there. And then you move into the INT Goku stage, where Goku has around 62 million health, hits for about 450 on the normal, and has a 1.1 million super. What Goku does do that's super interesting is he disables evasion and has his attacks guaranteed to hit. So unless you are running an evasion disabler, of which there is only one currently at this point in time, the MUI Goku, then obviously you are going to struggle with that. On top of that as well, we'll be completing the bonus mission, which is for using a unit of each type. So 1 unit of tech, 1 unit of strength, 1 unit of physical, 1 unit of AGL, 1 unit of int, etc. For me, look, all in all, I think this challenge was fairly fine. Like I said, by the 8th anniversary, you've got a lot of access to units now, so building teams is not necessarily the most difficult. I went with a Super Saiyans team led by Goku. Obviously, what I would suggest is the Super Saiyans team, especially if you're going to be using some of these units, are not great, or they're fine. They're a really, really strong team, but they're not necessarily at their best against super class enemies, especially like if you look at Super Saiyan Goku, etc. So what I would say overall is that if you are going to build a team, just keep in mind that this whole stage is against super enemies, and rather benefit from some units that gain bonuses against those. So like maybe you go Planetary Destruction with like an AGL Frieza or something. It's just probably a bit better. But yeah, all in all, to be honest with you, the stage was fine. I think the Gamma 1, Gamma 2 stage poses the biggest threat. 2 enemies, 2 supers, 2 different typings. I would assume that's the hardest one. Goku obviously depends if your team was centric to evasion or not. Obviously if your team is evasion centric, then yeah, you're gonna have some problems. If your team is not evasion centric, then it doesn't matter, you'll be more than fine. So it just depends on your team, depends on how you handle things, depends on what you what you see in terms of, how can I say, like difficulty, I guess. So yeah, that's I mean, that covers pretty much the whole team rundown and everything like that. What I will say overall, for me personally, I will say the team that I chose ran smoothly enough. But honestly, I didn't really enjoy it that much. There's something missing with the Super Saiyan team. I think for me, it's the fact that I don't have the physical trio. But I'm just lacking that kind of cohesion, support, kind of functionality that I really, really like with certain teams. So I probably wouldn't use this team if I was anyone else. I'd probably use like an extreme team. I just feel like that'll work better. Movie bosses or something, planetary destruction, Martian power. But yeah, other than that, of course, yeah, pretty straightforward. I think this team obviously handles the actual raw numbers of the fight quite well. A 1.1 million super nowadays by the current meta isn't remotely hard at all. Basically. So I think that's something obviously that people, can kind of understand or process or anything like that. But yeah, I would say overall for me, definitely there is some fun in these events. Obviously, your big reward that you get is the tickets. So the reward tickets, which you can exchange for dragon stones and for wallpapers and for kais and for a whole bunch of items. And obviously that's super helpful. But I would say, probably for me, overall, not necessarily, like, especially if you're someone like me, I think you can get them quite easily. And you probably have a lot of the wallpapers. So there's some good rewards there, but I do think there's a lot of benefit as well for more newer players. And what I do like about this event is there's a great way to slide people through the sliding scale of Dokkan difficulty. And I think it encourages people to easy A all the units, super easy A all the units. Like, I do think there's a lot of value there. The big mechanic in terms of limitations for these Dokkan Chronicle events is the fact that they have a set limit to damage. So every single phase of this fight, you're limited to a maximum of 10 million in damage. What this means is you can never really do more than like a third or half or a certain set percentage of the enemy's health. And this is where you can face some challenges. It just makes the enemies appear a lot tankier than they are, because your damage is always limit capped. So yeah, but most times you'll be fine, and I think you'll be able to handle it. So don't worry too much about it, and just roll with the fairly strength-driven team, and you'll be able to deal with everything, with relatively ease, I would say. So yeah, bye.